This is a review for Curse of the Dark by Professor Puzzle Games. It's an at-home escape room game in a box. It is advertised as a two-part collaborative escape room game. I'll talk about that a bit more later on. The instructions within the game says it requires a 90 centimeter by 90 centimeter table space, a torch, and a device with an internet connection. It's for ages 14 plus, and they recommend it can be played by 1 to 6 players, split into 90 minutes and 90 minutes, giving a total of 180 minutes. If we look at the back of the box, we can see that some of the included components are used to build the world in which the game will be played in, and I'll go through that a little bit when we open the box. This review is not going to give any puzzle spoilers, but I will discuss some of the mechanics in the game so that if you're thinking about picking it up, you'll have an idea of what you can expect. We managed to pick this up kind of relatively cheaply compared to a lot of the other at-home escape room games that you can get. I think we ended up paying about 22 euros or something for it. And I will discuss again at the end kind of value for money take. So when you start, you will open the box and you will be greeted with the rules set. Read that first, and then just to give you an understanding of the story, you get this newspaper article and then a note on the back. So the way the puzzle is structured in this, and it kind of threw us off a little bit at the start, is that you are given a puzzle, you will solve that puzzle, and that will result in you getting a symbol. On page 3 and 4 of this book, there is a list of all of the symbols. I'm not going to show them now because we played the game, so there'll be spoilers in it. And so when you find the symbol on that page, if you are correct, it will tell you what you need to do next. If you are not correct, it will tell you that you're not correct, and you will know you need to review your answer. And then that symbol will lead you to the next set of cards that you need, and then you will build from there. So the mechanics of the game, there is 13 of these building cards, and they show various different locations from within the game, and they are numbered 1 to 13. And then you get this deck of cards that is numbered 14 to 77, and within these cards you will get the different puzzles and more story pieces as you make your way along. So the first clue, you take a number card, it will tell you other number cards that you need, and then over time, as we saw on the back of the box, there is this building that will take place that you will end up having an outlay of the world in which the game takes place that you can work your way through. The system that the game uses, as I say, it's puzzle that results in a symbol. Check the rule book if you're right. That will lead you to more building squares and number cards, and over time you will end up building an entire world over your table, and that is where the game takes place. Some of the good points about this, I would say, the story, while it's relatively well used in puzzle games like this, I think it's probably done quite well with this one. And there is a very good variety of puzzles. I suppose over the last while, we've been doing some of the Unlock series, some of the Exit series, and a couple of other kind of smaller mass market games like that. And we would have found that the way those games worked, this is definitely a step up. There's much more involved in the building of the world, in the use of those components as you're making your way through the game. There's a couple of puzzles, I think, if I was to put in a bad category. There is one set of, without giving any spoilers, cardboard figures within the game that are used to work out one of the puzzles. And because that card is flimsy, it's very difficult to get it to do what you need it to do. to get you to the answer you need. We were able to kind of figure it out, but it took us longer than it should have if that card was kind of a slightly better quality, I think. And then, again, without giving any spoilers on this one, there is there is the use of the web-based app, so you can get it on any phone. There's a QR code that brings you to where you need to be, and you use a series of data points. And towards the end of the game, you are expected to use those data points. You've gathered like a certain amount of them. You get to a point in the game, and the way you input those data points, you have no idea which of the points that you've entered are correct or incorrect. So you don't know if you're halfway to being correct with your guess, or if you're one data point away from being correct, or if all of your data points are incorrect. So we found that a little bit tricky to try and figure out where we were with that and how close we were to being right or not being right. There is a hints system within the rule book as well. I'm not going to show I'll actually see if there's a way that I can show some of the hints without any spoilers. So if I come in from this side, this should maybe do it. So you have your puzzle on the left there. The first block is a hint, the second block is a hint, and then the third block on this side is a solution. And so what you do is, when you get to a puzzle, if you're stuck, you can get a hint, second hint, and then the solution. We were trying to make our way through, as you do, using as few solutions as possible. And with that last one that I just spoke about with the 13 data points, it's a problem because if you scratch off the solution and you see you're only one data point away from where you needed to be, that's going to cause a level of frustration. And at the same time, you could be 10 data points away from where you need to be. And if that's the case, then you need the solution to try and figure out where you're going wrong. I'm not sure if they could have introduced some way to let you know, maybe like within the web-based app that you're using to enter that answer, if there was some way that they could say, oh, that's close, but it's not quite right, or something that you could just figure out if you have half of it right, or like more than half, or I'm not sure how you could figure that out. But I feel like that's definitely something I would like to see in future kind of iterations of a game like this, that are like, if I'm playing future games, I would like some way to know if I'm on the right path without actually fully using the hint, because we knew we were working through the right thing. It was just the order of the data points. And again, that sounds confusing because I'm not trying to give any spoilers. As I said, it says on the box that it's 180 minutes to be split into 90 and 90. I'm not sure if the problem we had was that we're just not very good at these games, but like that 180 minutes, it was actually about 300 minutes for us. And I think as we did split at a point in the game where it tells you to split halfway, and I'm not sure if then like we just kind of in the second half, whether the puzzles were getting trickier or whether we were kind of getting more tired, or I don't know what happened towards the end of the game. And I'm not sure if maybe we could have split it over 2 days instead of just a couple of hours apart on the same day. I'm not sure, but just that's something to keep in mind, that if you have the option to take maybe more regular breaks as you're going through the game, I would think, I suppose in order to give a score for this, I would say based on the experience we had when we played it, the score I would give it would be 3.5. I feel like it could be a 4.5 level game if we hadn't been as tired getting into the second half of the game. I know that could be just a skill issue on our part, I'm not sure, but there's something about the way the second half of the game went versus the first half of the game that, like, I think maybe if we had enjoyed the second half as much as the first half, it would have been a 4 out of 5. I think based on the experience we'd have, I'd give it a 3 out of 5, but it's definitely something I would recommend to other people to play. There is a destructive element to the game pieces. So there are some parts of the game that do get cut or folded or used in that sort of a way. After playing the game, I did go through the pieces that you like damage as part of the game, and I think it's possible that if you had somebody who wanted to experience the game, you could maybe tape certain things up or put extra folds in things to try and throw off their sense of what they were doing when they start to play the game. I think if they want a full, complete experience themselves, they're going to know what you need to do with certain bits if you have them taped or kind of pushed back into place. There was some very, very enjoyable puzzles in it. What I would say with regards to this game and all games, at a certain point for us, the game stopped feeling fun. And I think maybe at that point is when we should have realised, okay, we need to take a break. And definitely when we start taking on bigger, longer challenges in future, that's definitely going to be something we do a bit more. First half, really, really enjoyed it. Second half was less enjoyable for us. And I think, again, that's just a skill issue and because we didn't manage our time very well. So overall, our experience, 3 out of 5. I think in general, it could be a 4 out of 5 if we'd managed that time properly. And I would definitely recommend this as a game if you're looking for something to step up from the usual unlock games or exit games. It's like quite good. You get an awful lot in a box. As I say, we paid €22 for it. And I just think it was such a good use of that time and money. And one way, I suppose, like we got 5 hours of entertainment for €22. That's like a very, very good return on what we'd spent. And I'm probably in a position that with the bits that I've like kind of put back together, I'll be able to use it with younger family members and get them to kind of explore that same world. I can walk them through it, still give them the aha moments, but they won't need the same type of experience that I think maybe experienced or like veteran at-home escape room games players will want. So yeah, if you found this video of any use, comment, let me know. Have you played games like this before? Is there any other games like this if we're looking to step up to this type of a game that we should play? And I'll see you all in the next one.